the Aztecs.
This is amazing.
All right, see now, it's the stolen thunder, but look who is joining us.
Sorry, Adam.
Walking in to Happy Does here in the Gaslamp.
This is incredible. Incredible.
Get him up here on stage. You can follow us here on the YouTube stream as well. It's been a few years since I've seen him in person, but he is the National League Cy Young Award winner, Gold Glove winner, and soon to be this summer, new member of the San Diego Padres Hall of Fame. Let's hear it for Jake Peavy.
Wow, look at that.
Wow, thank you guys so much.
That is, that's quite an intro.
That was. Look, I stumbling up the street and didn't see much happening outside. Said the game time must have got everybody. But good to see you, and God, it feels great to be back in San Diego. Thank you.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, well, I'll start. As you knew I was going to, Jake, I want to play a little game called Fact or Fiction.
Okay.
All right.
I'm into that.
This is your first question?
It's my first question.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I'm going to start it hot out of the chute.
He's been
I've been
practicing
waiting
for this one, yeah.
So I'm going to set the stage for the audience as well, and they know the story. But a couple years ago, we're out at Padres Fantasy Camp, and I'm standing there with the great Trevor Hoffman. And he is in front of the medical area, and he's got this tub of red hot, and he's got a glove on. Yeah. And he's greasing up his arm. He's about to go out and throw some BP. And I walked up to Trevor. Now, I'd used Icy Hot and things like that, and I said, my God, what is that? And he said, oh, this is the good stuff. Yeah. And I said, all right. And I go, I'm going to try some. So I slathered my arm up with it, and I went, oh, my God, Trevor. And you know why you have to use a glove. He goes, Peavy used to put this on the old undercarriage. Yeah. And I said, what? And he goes, yeah, we'd walk in, and he'd be there before a game, and he'd be slathering into, down there. And I said, there's no way. There's no way. Is that fact or is that fiction?
It's fact.
Oh, my God. All right. So, obviously, the question is why, number one.
All right, so it goes back to 2004. I had my first good year. 2002 and 3 were me getting my feet wet as a young major leaguer. Now we moved down here, and I'm telling way too long of a story.
No, you got time.
2004 we won the ERA title. We had the lowest ERA in the league, and I really had this come on the scene, feeling like I belonged as a big leaguer. We were moving into Petco Park. It was great. After the season, every other year back then, Major League Baseball took a team, an all-star team, to Japan, and we traveled around Japan. Well, Bruce Bochy, Tommy Lasorda was the manager. Something happened health-related, and Bruce Bochy got to be the manager on that. And I started lobbying for myself,
of course,
to go over there. It was the first time I really felt like a big leaguer because 2004 World Series had just ended. We had Manny, David Ortiz on this team. Bruce Bochy was our manager. Roger Clemens is soon to win his 7th Cy Young while we're there. We now get over there. I'm hanging out with Roger Clemens, a guy I had a poster on my wall as a childhood, riding to the field with him, doing anything, and stopping by TV shows. He's making $1 million for like 15-minute appearances and stuff. It was nuts. Long story short, we get to the field, and he's got to pitch the first game. And he lays down and gets a massage with that hot stuff.
All over,
right? And I said, man, that's incredible, Raj. And he was like, well, when you're my age, you got to get loose. And then he took that glove, and he put a little bit right there where the sun don't shine.
Yep.
And he goes, this is going to take me to a place of being really uncomfortable out on the mound. And he goes, Jake, let me tell you, don't ever get comfortable on the mound. When you get comfortable, you get complacent, and you get caught. And he goes, this right here is going to put an edge on me that I can't explain, and it will. And so, look, it was my hero, and I brought that right back to the States and started doing what Roger. He was winning Cy Youngs. You got to do what the best are doing.
Since I heard you did it, I do it before broadcast.
That's it. Now you see, now we go.
If you ever watch the stream, I'm fidgeting the whole time. It's just because. Now I've hit the groin and grazed, one of the boys before and been like, this is terrible. And that stuff, by the way, it does not come off. You're laying in bed that night and you're just going, God, it's never going to end. And but now you know, and it is true. And I got to ask my question about Jake Peavy's taint, and here we are. So
a little edge, yeah.
Very happy.
So Jake, what was your reaction when they gave you the news? Voted into the Padres Hall of Fame, going to be inducted later this year.
I don't really have proper words to describe this. Man, it makes me emotional because this was home. I left home as a 17-year-old kid out of high school, spent a few years in the minor leagues, but then got to come here. And then to go in with John Moores. John Moores was the reason I moved to San Diego and became a resident. He goes, Jake, I want you to be a face of the franchise. I want you to live here. And I said, John, I need to go back to my family. And he just made me a San Diegoan before I even knew I was one. So for that to all come full circle is wild. I'm grateful, to say the least, because once I left here, you don't live in the past. I was a Chicago White Sox. I was a Boston Red Sox and a World Series champion there. I went to the Bay Area, I just was on with the KNBR guys up there, and they asked me one of my memories, and I just told the whole Bay Area about beating the San Francisco Giants on opening day in Petco Park. And so it's been weird for me to have these relationships with other organizations and not really San Diego. So to come back home last year during the playoff run to feel this energy that's in San Diego as a whole, to watch what the Seidler family is doing for not only the organization but the city. It's a great time to be alive in San Diego.
It sure is. It sure is. Round of applause for sure. It's Jake Peavy joining us on Ben and Woods this morning. Excited to talk to you. I got to tell you, man, and I'm not sucking up here. I watch a lot of MLB Network, a lot, and there's some guys on there that are good. There's some guys on there pretty good. You've been great since you feel like a natural. How hard was that for you?
It's hard. It's hard because you want to represent the guys. First off, I'm a player, and what you're about to go watch these guys do today is so extremely difficult, and we just expect greatness in so many ways. And that was a real tough thing for me, to be critical and analytical when you have to be. But I just want to be honest, and certainly I have some bias towards this fan base, towards the places I played. I'm not going to run away from that. It's who I am. I don't want to, I love the media side of things in a way that I didn't think I would. And speaking of Don Orsillo, look, that great Don Orsillo out here. I was with him in Boston. We have a great relationship, so to now reconnect with him.
The best.
He's going to call another World Series championship here soon.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
You played, obviously, some great years with the Padres, playoff runs in 05 and 06. But this is a different San Diego Padres team now. I mean, just kind of watching what has happened this last couple of years with Peter Seidler and what A.J. Preller has put together. Could you have ever imagined here in San Diego that we'd be seeing something like this?
No, I couldn't. I mean, this is so far removed. I mean, when you really think about it, what I know about San Diego in their superstar players or keeping people around, we haven't done a good job of that. I watched Tony Gwynn. It was tough. I watched Trevor Hoffman put on a Brewer uniform while I stayed here. It was heart-wrenching. Adrian Gonzalez, myself, wanted to stay here. I was under a full no trade, not trying to go anywhere, and had to leave. And so that's been tough to watch you guys all have to go through, and us, as I've been a fan ever since I've been here and left. So to now see that tide turn, and I tell you, Xander Bogaerts, you guys, I won a World Series with Xander Bogaerts when he was a 20-year-old kid as a rookie. He's won another one. This signing, you not only are complacent with what you did last year, you go out and you add more. Yeah, that just speaks to what they're trying to do. The Seidler family is not going to be happy, I promise. I've sat behind closed doors until we bring a championship to San Diego, or they bring a championship. And I say we because I'll be a part in some way.
Whether they like it or not. Yeah,
look,
absolutely.
I'll be here in spirit and energy. I have no problems. I'm being with the people, baby.
Talking to Jake Peavy here on Ben and Woods this morning. So talking about Xander, talking about Manny, Tatis, Juan Soto, just one of the best hitters. So you're a starting pitcher. So you know that you draw the Padres, and you got to go out and throw against those guys. And, talk a few weeks from now when Tatis is back in the lineup, the 1 through 4, some iteration of, would you have a tendency to then, if you can get through those first 4, would you take now you probably won't because you have that edge that we talked about, but would you have the tendency as a human being just to all right, I made it through those 4, that's why I think guys like Crony and Kim and Nola and Grisham, those guys, I think they're going to have good years because I feel like it's a natural thing.
Without question. I mean, all the pressure should be taken off those guys, but you're exactly right. When you start making your way through those 4, get out of here, and then you can't help but relax. when you get through those 4. But the Padres have built a team that is deep. You saw Cronenworth's big hits in the playoffs last year. I mean, these guys can really play. That experience of last year is going to play in huge. And those guys having the years that they have, and I believe that experience, the confidence that they gained. Kim's an incredible player. The versatility of this team, the pitching depth, and the experience. I'm telling you, what I think San Diego has lacked. Let me give some credit. You said Manny Machado, and I want to make sure everybody in this room knows what kind of guy Manny Machado was, because this guy has really taken on a different life for me in watching and knowing from afar. And all I knew Manny is from across the diamond. He was a Baltimore Oriole as I was in the AL East, and we didn't like each other. Manny Machado, I watched this guy go through a horrific ankle injury. And when I was here in the playoffs, I got a glimpse of this ankle, and this ankle didn't look a whole lot better. And this guy ran out on the field for you guys every day. Didn't even go on the IL or want to go. When you have that kind of toughness and leadership, yeah, I want to make sure that the fan base knows that. These guys, and him and Bryce Harper was doing the same thing for Philly. But these superstars and guys like Manny that you have to build around here is incredible. But now, even taking it a step further, I believe AJ has put the right experience in the room with Nelly Cruz. Michael Walker's an experienced dude. Cole Hamels is in that room. There's just big-time experience with big-time talent. Bo Mel, it's the right time to be here. Can't be any
We're here with Jake Peavy. Happy does in the Gaslamp on Benton Woods. Now, sometimes when they bring in the old-timers for a ceremonial first pitch,
old-timers,
I worry about it a little bit. You look fantastic. You look like you could actually throw the first pitch and then another 80 or 90 today if they really needed you to go.
I saw you with the Savannah Bananas.
That's what I was going to say,
The old whip's looking pretty good.
Look, it's far from good. If you guys don't know who the Savannah Bananas are, I pitched for them last Saturday night.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Absolute blast. But no, I haven't stayed in great shape, and I'm far.
What are you topping out at?
I don't know.
85?
About
86?
that. Yeah,
okay.
I'll put a little something on it for you guys today. But
All right, can you hang on for just a little bit? We're going to take a quick time out. We'll come back with a little more Jake Peavy. We're going to give away a Manny Machado autographed baseball as well. Stay tuned for all of that. More Ben and Woods live on opening day from Happy Does. We'll be back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Fifth Avenue and the Gaslamp, just a few blocks away from Petco Park, where we are. Well, we killed about 3 hours and 20 minutes toward this now 6:40 first pitch tonight. Everyone's just got to wait a little bit longer, but hopefully we'll get everything in. The rain will pass, and we'll have a nice game tonight. And we are joined live. Jake Peavy is here with us.
Unreal.
Throughout the ceremonial first pitch tonight. Going to go into the Padres Hall of Fame. What a big year for Jake, and thank you so much for coming by again, Jake.
pleasure to be here. Absolute pleasure.
So let's talk some pitching. Ben, I was talking to Ben, and he said let's get him to put his analyst hat on a little bit, and let's start with Joe Musgrove, who it's got to be weird for you when guys like, oh, that's my boyhood hero. You're like, man, I'm not that much older than you are.
Well, that's the truth. But look, I don't know if weird is just what an honor. How cool it was. So cool for me to hear that. And Spencer Dolan, a great longtime clubhouse, guy here in San Diego, texted me and said, "Look, this Musgrove guy's a fan. He grew up here in El Cajon, and he's wearing 44. And just to watch him grow. And I just did a segment on MLB Tonight. They asked me what I thought the keys for the Padres were, and I think the key is Joe Musgrove and Blake Snell, along with Yu Darvish, being number one type guys at the front end of that rotation. Joe, we all saw that start in New York, absolutely come on the scene moment for the world to see, and it gave me great comfort knowing as a Padre fan, we've got a guy that can go in with a game on the line, a season on the line, and deliver like that. You have something special in San Diego, and excites me to the utmost that AJ, those guys recognize that, keep him here long term.
I know you don't get to be a big leaguer without putting in the work, and to get to the levels you did, just the amount that kind of goes into it behind the scenes. You got to see Trevor Hoffman. His work ethic was legendary. Have you seen some of the things that Joe has done, the training methods that he's using, like the underwater,
right,
hold his breath for
hyperbaric
5
chambers,
minutes, hyperbaric chambers to get that toe injury.
Have you told him about the undercarriage? I mean, it feels like you could save him a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, well, look, they were saying he had some hot stuff on his ears, and in true following the mold form. But, look, I was happy the other night to put that stuff to rest. I thought that was absolute BS.
Yep.
It hurt my heart that was even in question because of that, what you're talking about. Joe Musgrove's work ethic is top of anybody in the league. And yes, it's fun for me because we're old school. Me and Trevor just went for runs and we lifted, and just – these guys, the evolution of technology and all the things that they can now put into this can make you a better athlete. Joe's on the front end of that, and I tell you, you wouldn't want to. You don't want to hit against Joe. I don't think you want to face Joe
anywhere.
He's a bad dude.
He also has the fastest pitch ever at Antarctica.
In Antarctica, yes. For what
he
that
told
matters.
us the footing wasn't great, so he took a little off of it. It's only like 85, 86. So if you want to go down there and try to break that, it's there for you,
thank
Jake.
you. No, thank you. I'm hoping Joe breaks every record I got.
How about Blake Snell? He's the opening day starter today. Obviously, he's won a Cy Young Award like you have, but we've watched him kind of his ups and downs over the last couple of years, trying to lock it in a little bit earlier. What do you see when you watch Blake Snell work on the mound?
I see a bigger left-hander struggling. He reminds me of Randy Johnson, just not maybe that stature, but sometimes big left-handers that have incredible stuff have a tougher time really honing it in. When you see Blake catch stride,
man,
it's unhittable. It's number one stuff, and that postseason start that he got taken out of against the Dodgers, that was his come on the scene moment, and which is why you have Darvish here, and you have Blake Snell, who can at any point in time dominate any team. And Joe can do the same thing. You have these three-headed number one-ish monsters at the top of your rotation that you've got to keep healthy, and you got to have them ready to perform down the stretch, and I expect them to. But Blake, when he throws strikes, the only way Blake gets hit, he just gets behind. Guys sit on the fastball, and he's got to throw it in there, and they can take some good swings. When he gets ahead and is commanding the ball, forget about it.
Is he one of those guys where I watch him pitch sometimes and I'm like, your slider's too good. It's too good today. Like it's not in the zone long enough so guys are able to lay off it. The changeup, he always talks about putting his changeup in timeout. When it's on, I mean, sometimes it feels like his stuff is actually too sharp. Can that happen? Can you? I mean, I guess you can't throw too hard, but some of the sliders and the off speed, your secondary pitches, if they don't look like strikes, nobody's going to swing. These guys are too good.
Yeah, you're exactly right. His stuff is just electric, and it's just sometimes visibly you can see him trying to control it.
Yeah.
And then you'll hear him talk about the changeup's been in timeout. And then I watched him the other day and building this tape. He was throwing it 3-2 at times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this thing can go from being in timeout. So I think what he's working on is just a consistent delivery to where he can really understand, how to just get ahead. Because if he gets ahead, it's death for the batters.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see a lot more of what you saw down the stretch. He's surrounded by a great group of guys, coaching staff, good energy. You're going to get the best out of him.
How important was that for you to have a pitching coach that you could rely on? Because I know that Ruben Niebla has come in here and done a great job and helped a lot of guys kind of right the ship when things went south. Josh Hader had a really tough time when he got here, and then we all saw what he was able to do in the playoffs, some of the most electric stuff I've ever seen. How important is that for a big leaguer to have a guy that he can rely on like that?
It is, and not only Ruben coming over, these guys will rely on each other. There's not anything better than having a peer that's your friend around the same age that you have the respect for, and you certainly learn from the younger guys too and talk to them. But this staff is made up of a lot of veteran type guys that are going to help some of the young guys along, but just the veteran presence that they have throughout the entire pitching staff, those guys are going to feed off each other, learn from each other, and then Ruben's going to add a great thing. And then, look, when you talk about great pitching coaches, I can't help but mention my relationship with Darren Balsley. I do not have the career in San Diego. Darren Balsley, longtime pitching coach here.
What was it?
Darren Balsley, these guys know what they're doing mechanically. It's not, and there's analytics that help guys mechanically. A good coach is a good mental coach and makes you in the best frame of mind that you can be in to go be the best version of yourself. And Darren Balsley, I know 3/4 of our relationship was lying to me. He'd come out there sometimes, your stuff's way better than you think. And I'm like, it's horseshit. He's like, no, it's better. He was just a great motivator and a constant positive influence. And I believe that. And coaching these kids, and I believe in just reinforcing positive and telling them you can, and we're going to do it. Stay with it. And that's what a good coach does. along with being able to make some
tweak.
adjustments here and there. In game is when that really happens because everybody can figure it out in between starts. A good coach will help you maybe point something out, but then he'll keep you in the right frame of mind to keep doing what you're doing.
How often did that happen? Woods would call it being in the torture chamber, like nothing's working. You mentioned Josh Hader, one of the nastiest in the business, and he goes through a month and a half last year where his ERA's
10 or something,
crazy. But then by the end of the season, by the playoffs, he was as dominant as any pitcher you'll ever see, blowing away the best hitters, had no hope against. I mean, made Freddie Freeman look like a fool at the end of that series. Did you go through some of those ups and downs like that?
Oh, I certainly did. And it goes back to that thing for me. I say all the time, there's two types of baseball players. And if Josh Hader can be humbled, anybody can be. There's humble baseball players and there's those that are about to be. Because this game is extremely tough, and I don't care how good you are. These guys are constantly evolving and looking at what you're doing, and they're going to get you at times. And so you're going to have to make adjustments. And that was a huge feather in the cap. Josh Hader, to go through that and then to come back in writing. And if Josh Hader is who he has been, he's been the best reliever in the National League for years
Long
now.
time, yeah.
And he showed us that down the stretch. If he is that version himself, the Padres have no weaknesses on this team if Josh Hader is the Josh Hader. Matter of fact, he's as big of a strength as you can have.
No doubt. It's such a mental game, and if you feel like you can't throw a strike, you're not going to, right?
Well, and that just shows the mental toughness. To go through what he did, getting traded from a home, all those good friends in Milwaukee, coming over here, fumbling at first when the team needed him, to get that right tells you this guy's got some mental toughness as a guy we want on our team.
Love that.
All right, 9 hours from now, you'll be out on the mound at Petco Park throwing out the pitch. You'll be warm by then? You need to start loosening up yet?
The excitement's just going to build and build. It's going to be ready to explode, baby.
Jake Peavy, everybody. Jake, thank you so much for coming down. This was so much fun.
Pleasure.
Yes, thank you for coming out.
Cy Young Award winner, Padres Hall of Famer, Jake Peavy, here on our opening day broadcast. And Happy does.